started with all the stocks that are managing to hold on to some ground or buzzing in trade today, either on the back of news flows or technicals. On the technicals today, we have Sameet Chavan joining us with us, while from the research team today, we have Lisa as well as Harsh joining in with us. A very good afternoon to all three of you all, and I'm going to be starting with the first stock that is in focus, Ashiana Housing. This one was buzzing in trade, at least during the time, and the last I checked it was up in trade as well. Why is that so? Because Ashiana Housing Limited and International Finance Corporation, a part of the World Bank Group, are together exploring a proposal to co-invest in the upcoming middle income residential projects, including the senior living projects as well. Now, the proposal envisages the total investment of around 225 crores on a project-to-project basis by the IFC, and which is representing around 40% of the capital required by the project, and the remaining 60% of the capital required, that is 337 crores approximately, will be contributed by Ashiana Housing. While the due diligence has to be carried out yet, the proposal is pending for approval from the IFC board as well. Today, as of now, you can see the stock has given up all those morning gains that we're seeing at down 0.1%.
All right, let's talk about now the big boy Reliance Industries. 8th day of fall coming in for Reliance Industries, Winnie, and that one is really weak in trade today, dragging the markets lower as well. And if you see, the stock is headed for its longest losing streak since May 2022, and it's also fallen to a one-year low level. You have Ambit Capital, which has come out with a sell call on the stock. They're saying the borrowings of Reliance has been rising, and 45% of those are floating rate as of FY22. Hence, there is an obvious pressure on the interest cost. On the other hand, you had Jefferies that in a last week note pointed out that the key concerns raised by investors include slower growth in the retail despite rapid floor space addition, large rise in capex and rising debt levels as well. However, Jefferies did have a buy call on the company because they see limited downside to the earnings. Apart from that, also this morning you had a news flow that had come out on the agencies, which said that government is planning in line to ensure the availability of refined fuels for the domestic market. Also, they are planning to keep the restrictions on the export of diesel and gasoline beyond March. So on back of that, Reliance Industries is under pressure. I know I've taken the entire 1 minute, but this is Reliance Industries.
It does require
on the markets, yeah.
Absolutely. But let's move on. And gold is surely glittering, Cheryl. But let's find out from Sameet, is Muthoot Finance going to be glittering going forward as well then?
Well, the stock has been consolidating of late. If you see, the stock has been consolidating in a range, and today we are seeing good traction in this counter. Stock has challenged its 20-day moving average, which is placed somewhere around 952. So on an intraday basis, this particular level has been surpassed. Stock has come off a bit, but overall, if you see, looking at the price and volume activity, will not be surprised to see some bounce back rally in this counter. Stock has been a laggard, but considering the extreme oversold condition, this stock is due for some sort of bounce. So 980, 995, these are the next levels to watch out for, and for a time being, you would expect 900, 920 to act as a very strong support.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about Krishna Diagnostics, Lisa.
So Krishna Diagnostic is in focus as it it qualified as an L1 bidder with regard to the tender, and this is in consortium with the Telecommunication Consultants Limited. Well, the tender size is estimated at around 450 crore, and that is by the National Health Mission. This will be done in 3 phases: 50% within 60 days, and the remaining 50% in the next 90 days. Well, the company has made a lot of progress. In the last month itself, it opened around 100 diagnostic centers in Mumbai, taking the total to 300 centers. And early in Feb, the company also emerged as the lowest bidder to set up the laboratory at government health institutions in Odisha. Well, after this news, the stock, it saw an up move post 11:30, but post that it couldn't keep hold of it, and in the stock market, it saw a fall and is now trading at around 392 as we speak.
All right, so that's Krishna Diagnostic that is in focus. Let's take a look at what the markets are doing right now. And Nifty has managed to reclaim that 16,900 mark. Remember, it fell sharply below those levels. 70 points uptick coming in for the Nifty from the day's lowest point. Also, you have a gradual recovery seen in Sensex as well. That one also is seeing good recovery from the day's lowest point. 200 points recovery coming in for Sensex as well. You still have 2 more hours of trading session left, Winnie. European markets, as expected, has opened weak.
Absolutely. But let's move on and then talk about the next two stocks that we have. And HDFC Twins, Harshit, you've picked out today. Why is that you picked this out? What's the news flow here?
Well, yes, they've confirmed the news that the NCLT has given approval for the merger. Now, of course, ET now broke news with regard to that merger on Friday. And now the NCLT has gone ahead and officially approved it. We got that news post-market on Friday. And even on Friday itself, post the news that we broke on ET now, the stock had risen, both stocks had risen around 1.3, 1.5% each. And on the back of this news, on the back of a weak market, the stocks are down today. But of course, it's positive news, largely because this paves the way for the merger. The merger was expected by end of Q1 FY24, and that ought to now be pulled back. Of course, some guidance from the company will be awaited on that front.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about HPCL. But before that, let's take a note of the flash on the bottom of your screen. You have UBS that has actually started trading. European markets have opened, and UBS shares have fallen in excess of 8% as we speak. Remember that even Credit Suisse stock will fall in trade, because in the pre-market trade, it was showing a downtick of about 62%. So we need to watch out for where Credit Suisse is. But stocks 600 banks index has fallen about 2.9%. Vinny, it is wiped out as YTD gains as well.
Okay, that's surely that one we are keeping an eye out on. But let's, Samit, talk about HPCL. How is this one looking like on the charts? What should we be expecting, and what levels are you keeping an eye out on then?
See, with crude oil is falling, no brainer. OMCs are getting benefited, and HPCL is the one stock that has been giving a good move since last 2 to 3 weeks. Stock has formed a strong base somewhere around 210, and since then we are seeing a steep recovery in this counter. Overall, with a broader perspective, the chart structure looks quite promising. If you look at the volume activity in the recent rally, it has been quite robust. So considering the overall development, we expect this stock heading towards its recent swing high of 260, and once 260 is broken, the stock would confirm its multi-month breakout, and in that case it can head toward 280. So overall, the bias remains bullish. Any dip from current level would be a good buying opportunity in case of HPCL.
Current level would be a good buying opportunity for HPCL.
Also, you have crude also that's falling,
which
right?
he mentioned as well. So crude falling, 260, 280 is the target that we could be expecting. But let's move on and talk about Rail Vikas Nigam, RVNL as we know it. This stock is in focus and managing to hold on to gains of 1.4% as of now as well. And the company has actually emerged as the lowest bidder, L1 bidder, for the composite contract package in connection with the new BG railway line of Haryana Orbital Railway Corporation project. Now, the project cost for this is around 1,088 crores, and it's expected to be executed within 1,460 days. That's coming in from the release on the broker on the bonuses that we have seen coming in. Stock holding on to gains of 1.3%.
All right, let's shift focus and let's talk about a company which will benefit with the fall in the crude oil prices, a sector that Vinny tracks very closely, and that's paints. Samit, Berger Paints, do you think this one will stand out amongst the rest of the painting pack? Remember that you have Asian Paints that has done absolutely nothing of late.
But looks like, Berger Paint looks a bit sturdy. Stock has already given a good recovery in the recent past. Since last 3 days, it has been holding its, important levels of 580. So on a daily time frame chart, we can see a, higher top, higher bottom formation getting confirmed, which is a sign of, bullishness. And today also, if you see, stock has managed to found support around its key moving average, 89 exponential moving average, which is somewhere around placed around 580, 582. So overall, Berger Paint looks quite good, and 600, 605, these are the next levels to watch out for. But considering the overall price and volume activity, we expect this stock to surpass this hurdle and head towards 630, 635 in the short term.
That is Berger Paints for y'all. Keep an eye out on those levels. But on that note, we're going to step into a very short break, viewers. Don't go anywhere. We will be continuing with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade after the break as well.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET now. And yes, the markets have not been able to sustain even that mild uptick that it had actually seen just before we could hit the break. Now, Sensex is again down about 800 points or so. You have Nifty that is drifting lower. European markets have opened for trade, and this is playing as per script. We are expected a weak open for the European markets, and they have indeed opened weak. If you look at your screen right now, you have Credit Suisse that is open lower by about 62%. You had UBS that has fallen about 8%, and not just these two companies that are actually falling in trade. You also have Deutsche Bank also that has seen a downtick about 6.2%. The stocks 600 banks index, like I mentioned, it has wiped all of its YTT gains as well. So yes, not a great picture coming in when it comes to the global front as well. Week one for the global markets as well as Indian markets. But let me continue taking you through the stocks that are moving in trade, and delivery is the other counter that is in focus. You have Integrated Core Strategies Asia that has sold about 39 lakh shares of the company at about 320.8 rupees per share. The Internet Fund also sold about 55 lakhs odd shares of the company. On the other hand, you had Vanguard Emerging Market Stock Index Fund that has actually bought over 48 lakh shares in delivery. So yes, on the back of the fact that Vanguard has also bought shares in the company, you can see the stocks is holding on to gains. Very mild one to put it, but yes, positive bias.
Absolutely. Keep an eye on that one. But Lisa, you picked out Havells today. What's the news flow here then?
Yes, Havells has commenced commercial production of AC at its Andhra Pradesh plant. And remember that last year in July 2022, the company had announced that it will be setting this plant. And as per Jefferies, global brokerage Jefferies, they have mentioned that the mid-cap companies who are involved in manufacturing of ACs, fridge, refrigerators, fans, they will see strong demand amidst they will emerge as the key beneficiary amidst this soaring demand. And even the IMD had predicted that the strong summer and will be above normal temperature across most part of the country. So this commercial production of AC augurs well for Havells, and though this is a positive news, however, the stock is down around 2%, and this is in tandem with a weak market.
All right, that's Havells for you. Sameet, DLF, how is this one looking in the realty pack? Yes, it did see a sharp run up last week on back of that stellar pre-sales that it had clocked in for their new project. But where is DLF headed from here on?
Yes, last week toward the fag end, this stock performed well. We had a sharp upsurge from the levels of 340, and it has managed to surpass its crucial moving averages, 89 exponential moving average and 200 simple moving average. But unfortunately, stock has come off a bit from the higher levels today itself. But still, 360, 354 we are seeing as a strong support. Until the time, DLF maintains above 360, we expect some hopeful recovery in this counter. So 370, 375, these are the next levels to watch out for. And on the lower side, 355 should be seen as a strong support zone.
Okay, keep an eye out on those levels for DLF. But moving on, Naveen Fluorine also in focus, Harsh, and why is that so today then?
Yes, strong expansion plans announced by Naveen Fluorine. In fact, they've pushed for a new 40,000 ton capacity of hydrofluoric acid in their plant at Dahej. Now, that's roughly 2 times of the capacity that they currently have. And the total capex for this would be around 450 crore rupees. And the company currently has around a 20,000 ton per annum hydrofluoric acid capacity, which is currently consumed entirely internally. And the capex is largely to be done through internal accruals as well as debt. So there's a combination of that. And the subsidiary of Naveen Fluorine, which is going to be undertaking this particular expansion, is also the subsidiary which manufactures hydrofluoric acid as well. So largely on the back of that, the stock down around 0.25%, but was up in trade at the start of today as well as through the middle of the day as well. So slight bit of positivity on the stock on the back of that expansion.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Nalco Summit, and how is the charts looking for Nalco, given that the metal stocks will definitely be in focus?
It certainly looks weak. Recently, we witnessed a consolidation in a narrow range. Today, this stock has managed to break down below its important range. So 80, 82 would act as a very strong resistance now. And on the lower side, 76 should be seen as a crucial support. Once this stock slides below 76, then will not be surprised to see this stock even falling towards 70. So overall, the range has been 83, 84 on the higher side and 76 on the low side. So this time, the stock is likely to challenge its lower end of 76.
Okay, keep an eye out on that. But let's move on, talk about Torrent Pharma. This one is in focus. Why is that so? Because on Friday, what came in as an announcement for Torrent Pharma is that the US FDA has actually completed the company's pre-approval inspection of oral oncology manufacturing facility at the Bileshwapura, Gujarat plant. Now, US FDA has issued Form 483 with one observation after inspecting the Gujarat-based facility. The company said that they will be responding to the US FDA within the stipulated time and work closely with the US FDA to actually address this observation at the earliest. As of now, the stock is down almost 0.8% in trade post this.
All right, let's take note of what the US futures are doing at this point in time, Vinny, and almost 380 points downtick coming in for Dow futures is down in excess of 1.2% as we speak. S&P 500 futures also seeing a downtick of about 1.1%. Nasdaq futures are down about 0.8% right now. And let's take a note of what the European markets are doing in particular. So you have FTSE 100 that's down about 1.5%, DAX is down about 1.6%, as well as you have CAC that is down about 1.6% as well in trade today. The Italian index is also seeing a downtick in excess of about 2%. So yes, weak trade coming in for the European markets. However, we are holding on to those levels of 16,860 on the benchmark indices.
Okay, let's keep an eye out on that. But Sameet, Aurobindo Pharma, let's talk about this one because this has not done much for a very long period of time. Finally, could we expect a turnaround or still some more consolidation correction left?
See, at least short-term bounces on cards. First half of February, the stock managed to give sharp recovery from the levels of 400. Then it slipped into a consolidation mode, and again last week we saw some buying interest at lower levels. So overall, the chart structure suggests that there's some more bounce, which is due in this counter. So 500, which is the next important level to watch out for, it coincides with the 200 simple moving average. And looking at the price and volume activity, at least 500, is possible in the near term. So short-term traders can buy at current level, keeping a stop loss somewhere around 458 and 500, 510. These are the next levels to watch out for.
All right, let's shift focus then and let's put the spotlight on GMR. And why is GMR in focus in today's trading session is because earlier this morning, or rather late last night, GMR Airports Infrastructure that is going to merge subsidiary GMR Airports with itself, and the merger will result in Group ADP owning 32.3% stake in GMR Airports Infra. Also, GMR Airports Infra will be getting about 550 crore rupees from Group ADP as per the earlier announced earnout. So on back of that, you have GMR Infra that is in focus in trade today.
Let's move on and talk about the next stock that is in focus. And we have Ahluwalia Contractors, Lisa. Why is that one in focus?
For the construction of the cancer hospital, and this is for Tata Memorial Center at Parel, and the order is worth around 723 crore. Well, the company also updated on its order inflows for YTD FY23, and it stands at around 5,000 crore. Well, this is 2 times its TTM revenue, and if we see in the last 1 year, Ahluwalia Contracts, they have performed against Nifty, while Ahluwalia Contracts, it gave a return of around 15% against Nifty return of negative Nifty returns. So post this news, the stock saw a spike up and it touched a high of around 478. Since then, it's holding on to it, and as we speak, it's around 465, but yet trading with a negative bias.
All right, let's shift focus. Let's talk about Max Financial Services. How are the charts looking for this one, Sameet?
Undoubtedly looks extremely weak. In the early part of February, the stock prices took a nosedive, and since then there has been no respite. Today, it has made a fresh 3-year low. Stock is now trading around 612. It has breached its recent important swing low of 620. So overall, the trend has been negative, and it likely to continue at least in the near term. So next important support to watch out for would be around 590, 580. Any bounce back from current level is likely to get sold into, and 640, 660 should act as a very strong resistance now.
Okay. Moving on to stock number 19, and that is Jindal Polyharsh. Why is this one in focus today?
Again, on the back of expansion plans, Vinny. So we're looking at the company who successfully commissioned the capacity expansion project at its global non-woven division at the Nashik plant. Now, earlier the capacity was 36,000 metric tons, now booted to 58,000 metric tons. On the back of that, the stock was up and buzzing at the start of trade today. Of course, lost all of those gains, now down 0.75%, but that's a substantial addition in terms of capacity from 36,000 MT to 58,000 MT. Of course, will go live. Hopefully, FY24 should be that year where that revenue should get clocked in.
All right, so that is Jindal Poly for you. But on that note, let's slip into break on this edition of Market Parafa. Stay tuned. More on the other side. Don't go anywhere.